Hello everybody, welcome to People with Perime. My name is Coco Benger and today I am here with Terrell. Terrell, how are you doing today?
Living the dream!
Just living the dream?
As best as I can.
I know, we're all trying our best right now. Well, Terrell, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about what you do here at Perime. Can you kind of explain to me what your role is here?
I'm the head buyer here at Expired Collections, and I also work with Perime Magazine. Yeah, we're here already.
How did you get started with working with Expired?
Actually, we actually created Expired Collections as a pop-up opportunity to kind of raise funds for the magazine, and it really introduced us to the Boston community. When we opened up the pop-up shop, we also launched our website. So it's really just an introduction.
That's amazing. So, as the top buyer for Expired, can you tell me how you started getting into that business?
Well, I've been shopping for a lot of years, so it was an easy transition for me. I had worked in retail for a bit, and I did a couple pop-up shops. I did also Brimfield, which is one of the oldest flea markets in the country. And that kind of involved me a little bit more in the vintage market, and kept essentially preparing myself for the next Brimfield, but with COVID slowed things down a bit. So I decided, hey, let's try our luck in the actual city.
That's amazing. And how has it been so far?
So far, so good. We've actually had a great response from the folks that come in the shop. And just like the larger community, people are really looking for something like this. They like the balance of the art and the retail.
And how do you feel the store's impact has been on a space like Newberry Street, where you have a lot of different popular fast fashion brands versus something like this, where it's a lot more sustainable and locally sourced and vintage? How do you think the impact has been?
I think it's been a great impact. I think that especially because Boston's such a education-focused city, so we get a lot of college students that come in here that are looking for the diversity that Expired offers. Looking to be able to get a pair of Levi's with a pair of Comme des Garçons and a pair of Jound, and like just really the mix, a little bit of everything, and at various price points as well.
That's amazing. So, can you tell me a little bit about, so as a store that preaches sustainability, that showcases these local designers, can you tell me a little bit about what sustainability means to you?
I think it's really just the ability to last. I think that of course it's going to change for every business and every individual, but for me, I really feel like sustainability is the ability to keep going, keep it going, make it make sense, and that's kind of what we feel like how it works here at Expired Collections. We're a sustainable boutique in the sense that we're really trying to make this thing last. So we're really trying to source things that make sense, trying to support the local community, trying to buy slow so that our customers can shop slow. Yeah.
I think that's really amazing to think about sustainability as something that lasts, because I think that, you know, we live in this culture where trends are going in and out so quickly, and people aren't really taking the time to think about, you know, what piece really speaks to me, what really speaks to my style, what helps express who I am as a person. And I think what Expired is doing is giving people an opportunity to look around and really think critically about what pieces are going to help them display who they are, because that's what fashion is, you know, it's an expression of who you are. And I think it's really cool to be able to think about that beyond just what's trending, you know, and be able to form your own identity around fashion. So I really love that association you have with sustainability. But I'm sure, as you know, there's been some recent kind of thought in the fashion community about sustainability and what it actually means, and people I think there's a lot of mixed messages around sustainability and what that actually looks like, especially in regards to thrifting, which you have so much experience in. So I kind of want to talk to you about some, you know, discourse I found online about the ethics behind thrifting and reselling, and kind of just hear your thoughts on it. if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, I think that there's definitely been a larger interest in secondhand. Um, so that makes a lot of sense. I think that people are looking for a little bit more interesting items. Sometimes that can be hard to find in a retail setting or like in a mall setting. I think that there's been conversations about the gentrification of thrift, but I don't feel like folks that are actually looking and going to their store to source things for the wardrobe are having complications with that. I think that people who are thrifting professionally are looking for very specific items. And a lot of times I don't see that they're getting a lot of, not leaving at their store with, 700 pounds of clothing or like 200 units. It's more of a select, specific, curated edit that they're looking for. So I really don't feel like it affects the larger community. But I do understand where there has been some cause for concern just because a lot of people are getting more into it. But I think there's a balance. So I think that maybe as there's more traffic in the thrift store, there's less traffic in the mall.
Yeah.
That means that a lot of those things are going to the thrift store. So there's the opportunity to support a lot more people kind of like getting into it or shopping those places.
And I also think that people could argue that resellers are providing a completely different experience to shoppers than thrifting. They're going through racks and racks and racks of clothing to find the pieces that people are looking for, like the nice Levi's, the Jean Paul Gaultier, like the really cool pieces that people want. And they're, resellers, what they're doing essentially is spending hours at these thrift stores and then going through and reworking these items to make them desirable for people. It's providing them a completely different experience. And it's a business in and of itself. It's not necessarily just going in and taking those items away. It's recreating them as something that people would want. Would you agree with that?
For sure, for sure. Because I mean, when you think about it, a lot of resellers, they wouldn't be in the business if it wasn't viable, didn't make sense. So clearly there's a market that wants to do that, right? So people, I think most people know that, like, he didn't go out and have this, if someone's only 20 something and they're selling something from 30, 40 years ago, they clearly weren't part of that conversation. So I think that it's important to realize that, like, these folks are curating clothes just like they curate at Saks, Barney's, Farfetch, and so on. I think that even the thrift community has to be a little bit more informed in their purchases. So they're actually getting a lot that's coming in. So it's a proper curation, essentially. So yeah.
I think that, one of the criticisms behind thrifting as of right now is this overconsumption that may happen. Because people go to these stores and, items are like $5, $10, less than that even sometimes if you're going on like a special day. And people are just buying and buying, buying things without really thinking about if the pieces actually mean something to them, if this is something they will wear and curate into their closet. Do you have any advice for people when thrifting, how to be looking for pieces and making sure they're buying pieces that they genuinely love?
I think the most important thing in general, in terms of like wardrobing your closet, is to try things on. I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't really have time for or really enjoy that much. Is like going through the process of trying things on and learning your fit. I think that it's literally the essential thing of your wardrobe, is really knowing your size. I know that may fluctuate based on like life and things that come along, but I really feel like the more that you are familiar with like how things feel in your body, what colors work well with you, what textures you really enjoy, you have a better sense of the things that are going to work with you long term. Because essentially, once you find more or less your fit, you just like building on that and making with little twerks and tweaks.
Yeah. That's all. No, I completely agree. And I think that sometimes you can go into a thrift store and feel very overwhelmed by the amount of selection that there is, the amount of sizes there are, and be like, wait a minute, will that fit me? Will that not fit me? I'll just get it and then figure it out later, So I think really knowing that is really important. I think that's a great piece of advice. I think that another big thing that I heard in doing my research about sustainability was that only around 20 to 25% of the clothes that are donated to thrift stores are actually sold. And then around 80% get exported to landfills or burned and just lose their value. So I think someone could argue that thrifting really helps kind of close that divide, as well as reselling. What do you think about that?
For sure. So essentially, these professionals are going into thrift stores and grabbing these items before they hit the trash, and also just providing a platform for them to be consumed, championed, and so on. I don't think that. I definitely think I think people's reservations is more in the profit opportunities than anything. Because I don't think that if people were making as much money in a thrift, there would be a complication. It's just, I think, people shop in thrift. It's, even in my experience, a lot of times you find current retail stuff in the thrift stores. So it's just I think that it's definitely an opportunity to have more thoughtful conversations, but I don't think that there's like a lack of opportunity at all. I don't think that thrifters or shopping professionals are taking away opportunities for your regular customer or the elderly or folks who, don't have any other options outside of the thrift.
No, and I think it's interesting that you say that, because I think there is concern about people taking away valuable items away from those who need it, but from the data you can see that there is just a huge amount of clothing that is just being thrown away or wasted. I think that, if people want to be thinking about the communities that they are thrifting from, like looking at where they are thrifting, like let's say they're thrifting in somewhere in Boston, like city of Boston, there's probably loads and loads of clothing in stock there, but if they're going to lower income communities and taking away clothes from there, that's, I think, a little bit more cause for concern. And would that be correct, you think?
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that I think there is most thrift stores are putting out thousands of items a day. And again, like your average thrifter is not taking that much out of consumption. So I don't think there's so much opportunity. There's literally so much inventory. It's more or less impossible for these lost opportunities that people speak of.
Terrell, I think you've given some really awesome advice and really great thoughts about this topic. To close out today, I was just wondering if you have some advice for people about conscious thrifting. And how to be a more conscious consumer while thrifting beyond what we've talked about.
For sure. I think that building some sort of uniform is really essential, and building on that, like finding things that work for you. And the only way for you to do that is to try things out. Go to different stores. You don't have to purchase all the time. Go to Barney's, go to Saks, go to Bergdorf, go to H&M, go to Urban Outfitters, try on a bunch of different things. Figure out what you like, what fits work for you, and do your comparison. So that if you hit the thrift or you don't, or you come in here, you kind of know the things that you're looking for. And I think that there's so many stylists that are looking for folks to work with. There's really so many different opportunities for you to kind of get a little bit a better sense of your own style. But I think that trying things out is really important. Also, trying things out, trying things on, trying things out, challenging yourself.
That's awesome. Can you tell me maybe what your uniform is right now?
I honestly usually like trousers.
Trousers.
As usually my go-to. I decided to brighten it up a bit for the spring with some denim here, but usually trousers are my go-to. I'm really more into the comfy things these days.
I love me a good trouser, but spring has sprung. So, Terrell, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody, this was People with Perime, our very first episode. Stay tuned in for more episodes coming up. Thank you guys so much. My name is Coco. I'll see you soon.